The most expensive assassin in the criminal underworld is John, a professional killer who can kill anyone for money. John, who had a lucrative career, has now retired in order to spend more time with his wife in a relaxing environment. Natasha is the name of John's wife. One day, she told him, "I'm going to hang out with one of my best friends Nora for a few days, so I need you to watch over her stepdaughter, because her father has abandoned her forever after the divorce." The girl's name is Seo-young, and she's a young kid, is 17 years of age. The next day, John drops his wife Natasha and Nora off at the airport and picks up Seo-young at a coffee shop in the evening. On the way, Seo-young tells John that she wants to stay at her friend's house tonight, but upon repeated pressure from Natasha, John agrees to do babysitting of that girl. However, inside, John did not like to do this because he did not want to keep an unknown girl in his house. He carries a tracking gadget in his wallet to keep track of where Seo-young is. John's song drops when Seo-young calls John in the middle of the night to report having severe stomach pain. John rushes to help her. However, when John arrives here after losing sleep, he discovers that Seo-young is having fun with her boyfriend. This makes John angry inside and he realizes that Seo-young has tricked him so that he can go back home with her. He then asks her if she was with Yeon and her friend before they left the mall, preparing to visit your best friend's home, but singing Yeon doesn't respond to his statements because she is currently engaged in a phone conversation while watching all of these events. When Seo-young asks him to leave, because her other friend had invited him to her place, John starts to leave but notices Seo-young leaving with her lover. This is when John realizes that Seo-young had duped him once more. John observes some inebriated chicks here. Upon realizing his role, he pursues Seo-young. Because Seo-young had a tracking device in her wallet, John quickly discovered her location. As John arrives at this deserted location, a woman named Donna approaches Seo-young and offers to give her $200 if she can make her customer happy. From this, we learn that Seo-young's boyfriend brought her here on purpose. Donna warns Seo-young that she won't let him leave if he disobeys her. Listening to this song, Donna was going to strike Yeon for abusing her. When John arrived and told them that if they sang, "If Yeon even sustains a scratch, I won't abandon you all," Yeon's boyfriend approaches John, thinking him to be a simple man, but John, who is a professional fighter, easily takes his knife. All the boys present now begin to fight with John, and John easily defeats everyone. John then orders everyone to leave, but Donna suddenly attacks him with a knife. Donna is unharmed, and John punches Donna, and as a result of John's actions, she collapses unconscious, and John now departs with Seo-young. As a result, Yeon now views him favorably, and the two of them develop a close friendship. One night, they go out to dinner together, and on their way home, they see police checking. Officer Lee stops John's car and questions him, before informing him that some college students have been murdered nearby and that an investigation is underway. As John gets home, Lee lets him go. Later, after reading this news, he gathers information about that incident from the internet and discovers that they were the same boys he beat up the night before. Officer Lee visits John's home the following morning to question him, because he is suspicious of John. Officer Lee shows John a CCTV clip of the direction his car is traveling, and John feels a little horrible for those youngsters. When Lee asks what your automobile was doing last night, on the road near the crime site, John skillfully responds that other cars had also traveled in that direction, that have since vanished. Lee shows him another image of Seo-young with the same boys who were killed the previous night, but John refuses to look because the images are blurry. Once Lee departs from Sung, John becomes skeptical of him due to Lee's thorough inquiry. Upon noticing Seo-young's terrified expression, Yeon apologizes to John and expresses her fear. John then recalls a girl he once met, who had lost all faith in life and was on the verge of committing suicide. When he intervened, pleading with her to let go of the past and move on. Then life here when Donna calls John, she tells him that all of the guys are dead, and that she has the knife that you stole from the lads, which has your fingerprints on it, warning him that if she gives the knife to the police, she might go into trouble. Donna warns that if you don't arrive at her house within an hour, she will present all of the evidence to the police. John agrees to meet Donna and gives Seo-young a tracking bracelet before departing. Apparatus inside Seo-young is left alone when John leaves to meet Donna. Later, John encounters Jang, a man whose purpose it is to abduct and sell young girls. Jang orders one of his men to kill John, but John easily overcomes the man, after Donna refuses to give John the knife with his fingerprints on it. John begins torturing Jang's men, which causes Jang to become alarmed and throw the knife at John. As John stoops to pick it up, suddenly, Jang fires at him with the knife before taking off running. When John returns home, he finds out that many people have come here and have kidnapped Seo-young and taken him away from here. John quickly locates her using Seo-young's tracking bracelet, and then takes his own life. He then goes after Jang in the room where he met the fighter who gave him an equal fight, and embarks on a journey there. When John arrives in a desolate street, he immediately attacks Donna, who flees but is caught by John, who then asks her where the song is. Young Donna asserts that her pals will murder you if you kill her. Then Donna starts telling John the whole truth, saying that our goal is to kidnap minor girls and sell them as slaves. After hearing this, John doesn't murder him but instead starts tormenting him. Yoon is a lovely virgin who was liked by someone, and that person has provided us with a lot of. When John asks Donna where Sung-yen is, she provides him with the address of a motel, where Sung-yen was kept. When John asks Donna for the name of the client who demanded Sung-yeon, Donna replies that I do not know that but my employer knows him now. After leaving John, the police arrive here. One officer Lee investigates here and discovers Donna in a room, who is now dead. On the other hand, John arrives at that hotel and as soon as he gets there, Sung-yen is gone. When he enters, the audience members attack him. John, a skilled warrior and assassin, quickly dispatches all of them by himself. A man named Yuri, who is also a professional fighter, enters the room before John even knows Yoon is here. Sung-young will be transported to Russia by ship tomorrow at 8 a.m., but you won't be able to save her because I'll kill you here, says Yuri, a member of the Russian mafia. John wanted to save Sung-young. Sung-yeon decides not to attack Yuri and proceeds to leave, but Yuri pursues him. Since both of them were professional fighters, they are currently engaged in a protracted battle inside. They compete equally, seizing the chance, by tying Yuri up with a rope before jumping out the window. John lands on top of an officer's car. Lee demands that John accompany him to the police station while brandishing a revolver in his face, but John stealthily removes the weapon, holds Lee captive, and escapes in her car to protect the music. Young John eventually makes it to the cargo port, from where Sung-yeon was being transported to Russia. When John sees Sang-young shot him, Sung-yeon was being transported there. When John sees Sung-young was kidnapped by gangsters, John immediately killed them all and then saved Sung-yeon from the attackers. Jong then attacked the group. Leah is alarmed by all she sees. When John searches Jang, he discovers a mobile phone, and Jang called Officer Lee on it. The officer, please Lee is also related to those who deal in girls. Lee agrees to John's request that he speak to him about the person in charge of all of this before he hands over his phone to the media, and reveals to the public that he is a corrupt police officer, who aids a gang in the trafficking of young women. John was bringing a police squad to the location. As Sung-yeon arrives at the hospital, Lee informs the police that everything that occurred here was the result of a police operation, and sends John and Sung-yeon there. Governmental awareness. She apologizes to John and claims that everything is happening as a result of her, but John soothes her by saying that the hospital is not to blame. Lee accuses John of committing numerous murders in order to safeguard Sung-young, but claims that I have concealed all of those incidents. According to John, I learned that day that you work for Jig's boss because I noticed Donna's dead body in your car trunk. You knew that if the police discovered Donna's body, they could look into it and find Jig. So you did so, take Donna's body out of that place. John asks Lee to bring him information about the Russian mafia that traffics girls. At first, Lee declines because it is a dangerous job, but later agrees because John has evidence against him that could destroy his entire career. The following day, Lee calls John and provides him with the address of a hotel, where a man by the name of Park is staying. Nevertheless, Park also learns that the Interpol officer has learned about his involvement in the kidnapping and transportation of young women to Russia. He swiftly begins to leave the hotel as John arrives and kills each of her men one by one. John then severely beats Park and inquires about the one who made the Sung demand. A woman participating in their company who is called Pig Mama by the locals, is called by Yoon Park, Kim Park. The man demanding Sung-yeon tells John that we kidnap underage girls, after which they are sent to the judge, who enjoys with one of the girls, and then the rest of the girls are sold in Russia and Asia for very high money. After taking all the information, John knows this because Pig Mama called him. Via Park, John also murders him. As soon as John phones someone, he begs them to come right away. A team then rapidly arrives, cleans up the crime scene, and disposes of all the bodies so that no trace of what happened is left behind. When John meets with one of his partners in the guns trade, John takes a large sniper from him, and now John was in the position of having to clean up the crime scene thoroughly so that no evidence is left behind. This squad exclusively works for gangsters and the mafia. Only then are we ready. Lee calls John and warns him not to mess with the judge, who is the mastermind behind everything, because he is the president of the Central District Law and has connections to powerful politicians. However, John takes the judge's address because he is a professional killer and is not scared of any officers or politicians. In addition, Lee adds that Sung-young now resides with her stepmother, after her father was killed in a vehicle accident. With this knowledge, John arrives at the hotel where Judge Kim was having an affair with several attractive women, and John murders Judge Kim. Using a sniper pig, the judge's men were taken out one by one. To appease the judge, Mama sent a new girl here. John was constantly barging in and murdering everyone. Officer Lee was with John, but as soon as he got the chance, he took John at gunpoint. Yuri is also present and begins firing at John. John is then taken prisoner and brought before the judge. When the judge hears John's question, "Are you the same man who ordered Sung-yeon to do that?" he simply smiles and asks Lee to murder John. Lee approaches John, but John attacks him. Others also arrive here to kill John, but he battles them all and dispatches them in a flash, telling Lee that it was done solely to allow me to meet the judge. After John kills Lee here, Yuri arrives and begins firing at him. A lengthy fight ensues, and John eventually overcomes Yuri, leaving him seriously hurt, Yuri, and finally murders him as well. When John enters the judge's office, the judge anticipates that John would kill him, so he offers to hire John in exchange for money. John queries the judge over the pig. After gathering all the facts on the pig mama, Mama then informs the judge that Pig Mama collaborates with me in this company. John also assassinates the judge, but in contrast, we witness Natasha and her best friend Nora conversing. While Nora answers a call from the judge, whose phone was actually used to conduct all of the activities associated with the trafficking of girls, Judge Nora. The judge had been informed of all of these details by Nora's stepmother, who was selling her adopted daughter for a hefty price. When Nora answers the call from the judge's phone while still in the car, we see John, who was seated behind her. Nora is astonished to see John in person, because she didn't realize he was a professional assassin. Instead, she was thinking of him as an ordinary person. Seo-young is killed after John takes Nora out of the city and promises to take care of him. John summons the same crew from the crime site, and they remove all of the evidence. Following this, John runs into his wife and embraces her. It is at this point that we learn that the girl Natasha was who John had previously prevented from committing suicide. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it, to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.